One night
Just
upon the
messing around down here.
Do you like that one? What's
Anok.
Anok?
Yeah, that's good. This one's awesome. To try that.
Is that their cask?
It's a classic cut, but yeah, it's 51%.
That's another one I want to ask you afterwards, because they have bottles that are, 30, 40, 50 years old. How do you?
Oh my God!
How do they know?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's people that have more money than what they know what to do with.
Well, how do you know it's that good?
Yeah,
I would, and if you did, I would pay for that.
Yeah, something like
you're
that.
paying for a bottle. You could, for a barrel, it's what they'll pay for a bottle.
Yeah,
whatever.
All right. You got to be Anne.
We're back.
She really has, since she's not here, she really has kind of that, like that Midwest, like, when she does that. We're back.
I think she's a wonderful individual.
Thank you.
And I think you're lucky to have her.
I am. All right. So, we've got some Lagavulin tonight. This one was like a last gasp. So I had actually had the slate all set, and this was supposed to be Ardbeg 10, and I was in the liquor store, and I'm a huge fan of Parks and Rec and Ron Swanson, and this was sitting there, and it's the Offerman edition. So he's a big Lagavulin guy, and worked in partnership with Lagavulin to come up with an 11-year-old, the Lagavulin edition. So I bought 2 of these, and I guess we should do them in the order that they're sitting here. That way we know what we're doing.
So I should get rid of that?
No, yeah, go ahead. You just drink that down. I guess we could have just moved the glass too, huh? So I figured while we were doing that, I had a couple other bottles of Lagavulin that I hadn't opened yet, and figured John here is a big peaty whiskey kind of guy, and figured that no better time than now. So we also have just the standard Lagavulin 8. So this one's at 48%. The Offerman, I look at the difference in the color.
Is that the
3
light,
years.
or is it just clear?
No, it's the difference in the...
Wow.
Yeah, so you can definitely tell there's no color added to that one.
I mean, if you look at the bottles, they look
Yeah.
almost the same. Well, this one down here, but
Yeah.
the bottle is basically the same bottle. I mean, as far as the glass goes. But
And then we have a 9-year-old. So this is another one of the Game of Thrones whiskeys. Oh, that's a good cork. That's what she said. But this is a 9-year-old. So we've got an 8, a 9, and I didn't pour myself one. Damn it. Just sitting here blabbering. I think the color threw me off so much. Man, that is really light.
I see how you got them. Okay,
Yeah.
so these are literally as
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've seen some reviews and heard some people talk about the 8, and some people actually like the 8 better than the 16. They said it has a little more character. I don't have a bottle of 16 to compare it with, but I figure 3 Lagavulin should be good.
Yeah, add another one.
Yeah.
In. This could be an interesting video.
I do have a distiller's edition back there, but I don't really want to open that one just yet. So John, where do you want to start? Let's start with the Advent whiskey, or work our way up?
That's probably the best way, because nobody else has had the other one.
True.
So let's
So that way they can shut the video off after.
after they get annoyed with us.
Ooh.
And they say, "Oh, that's too smoky," and they're gone, right? Whoa,
Wow.
wait.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't get the initial sort of that
No.
smoke right off the sea
No.
like they normally have.
Yeah, like Lagavulin 16 is usually that big iodine, almost like barbecue, campfire.
What is that?
That's subdued.
It's unique, though.
Yeah. Oh man,
I get a little bit of that, but
yeah.
But
Knows the 8. It's almost like going to
this
like,
the 8.
Yeah, the 8's on the right. It's like light pear syrup. Like the old fruit cocktail we had when we were kids. And you wanted,
I'm not going to get that out of my head. You're right.
You wanted more of the cherries, but all it was like a can full of like gritty pears. Because my parents didn't buy the Delmonico. You got the or
That's right.
yeah,
You got
is it Delmonico?
Kroger special.
Yeah, exactly. The white can, mostly pears. Ooh, man, those are so different. It's almost got like a little cinnamon in it. See, this I keep telling you, like if you can do comparison tastings, like a couple, 2 or 3. Don't do any more than 3 because it gets a little crazy. But
Yeah.
I mean, each one of these are so different on the nose, and they're within 2 years of each other. Some of them a year apart.
Yeah, there's a cinnamon.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, they're all very, very different. Where
And
you going? You start
I'm gonna
with
start with the 11. And to me, that's like the cool thing with whiskey. Like if you do one whiskey at a time, I mean, they're all different, but probably people who are really into wine get it. But man,
Yeah, but that's tough too because, in general, the wine from year to year, it's going to be sort of close. These are very distinctly different.
that is an interesting whiskey. Totally not what I was expecting. Was expecting like big iodine and Band-Aid on the front, but really to me it was like smooth, almost cotton candy, sugary at the front, and then at the very end on the finish.
Here comes the sea.
Here it is.
Yeah, it's back there. That's the seaweed.
A little bit. Yep. Yeah, seaweed. That's good. Oh, that's
but
interesting.
not that much. Not much oil.
Mm-mm.
I like it. It's
And I know, so those of you that, probably Steph and Patrick who are big bourbon drinkers and probably still drinking them over ice, which is okay. I mean, drink it how you like it. You may be like, oh, but just trust me, if you stick with this whiskey journey, you're going to get to the point where it's not just, you just don't get overpowered by the smoke. You will get these different flavor components out of it. Peated whiskey may never be your jam, but there's definitely complexity to them.
even a couple of drops of water, just enough to like change it a little bit. Sometimes will, I think sometimes, especially with Scotch, it makes it, it can make it a completely different thing. And I was told once that it's almost like imagine it being made in a rainstorm. And I started thinking about that. Like sometimes if you smell, like you're walking along a path and stuff and you get dirt and you feel, it's whatever. But then as soon as the water hits, and it's like all of a sudden you get a little bit more of a mud and the rock changes and stuff. And they say that's what they try to do sometimes with this.
Man, that is light. Little bit of Band-Aid on the end, but again light, almost floral on the 8. It's like the space side of the Lagavulins.
See the water in this one. Which one with this? It changes it to me.
Yeah, good or bad?
I think it changes it good. But again, now I'm looking at almost like a fourth whiskey. It just smoothed it out. It took away that sort of heat piece when it sort of came in from the side, at the end there.
Oh yeah, so like the peat now is more in the front on the nose though.
Right.
So those phenolic oils.
Did you try these two? This is the 8.
I haven't gotten to this is the 8 on the right.
This is
and the 9. Yeah. So I think the water brought out the smoke a little bit more. The peat on the 11.
I think also sometimes when you're trying, some of the basic hitting whiskeys that you see all the time, you add water and it's sort of, you don't get it. You're not going to get it. But you use something like this, Lagavulin, Lafroig, they're very unique.
Mm-hmm.
You throw a little in there, I've just always seen that it changes it.
Did you try the 9?
No.
So it's to me like peppery, like totally different from these two. It's almost like is it from a different barrel or a different mash bill, but totally different. and really from the 8, considering it's 1 year's difference.
That almost comes across like if you would have said that this was like a space hide, like from a unique, distillery or something, I believe you.
Yeah.
Because now that we've tried these two,
Mm-hmm.
this, I think because this is sort of still in the palate a little bit,
Yeah.
the 9's thrown a little bit maybe. I don't know.
So adding water to the 9, to me, it's all campfire now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. It's like ash on the finish. Man, I don't...
Citrus there. Almost like juicy fruit. The smell. Like juicy fruit gum a little.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing, and so there's a lot of great YouTube videos other than this one, obviously, out there. Yeah, it is. Thank you. So there's the Whiskey Vault, a couple really good dudes. They do a whiskey every day. They've done it for a couple years, so they're really the guys that got me started on it. There's a guy called Ralphie who does basically bare bones, and he's a Scottish guy. I don't know how many years, 10, 12 years he's been doing it. So predominantly Scottish and some Irish. And then there's a guy named Roy who does, it's called Aquavitae in Scotland. But he does these recycling videos where he'll take like his 12 empty bottles out while he's by his recycling bin. Does these fantastic reviews. And but I can't remember which one of them said this, but they talked about the age of the whiskey. And I think it was probably Ralphie. But he said whatever the age of the whiskey is, that's the number of minutes minimally that you should let it sit and rest and let it open up before you drink it. So
I buy into that. Yeah.
Because now as you go back to these, they're all a little bit different as they've been sitting there. And sometimes I'll be drinking a whiskey and I'll get to doing something and come back to it, and you just get these big bursts of new flavors or different flavors after it's been sitting out for a little while.
I think I told you that also when I tend to do my tasting notes. I get to like this point, I've hit it a little bit, and then now I sit there for a minute, watch TV, go to the bathroom, I come back, and all of a sudden I start smelling the dry parts of the glass.
Yep.
And I think you get some different scents, and maybe it helps you if you're struggling with a certain whiskey. This is a good way to come back to it and say, oh, now I catch certain things,
Yeah. So of the 3, how would you rank them?
I think it's going to be, everybody's going to be different. I'm going to say I like this one probably the best. I still like that. I like that C. I like the smoke. These two, I'd say maybe this one, maybe right here with the 9. Yeah, because I think I tend to really enjoy different space sides. But again, I would not. That does not mean that this is garbage. I think they're all really good. They're really unique.
Yeah.
And you might think differently.
Yeah, I mean, I think to me it's close between the top 1 and 2. Like the complexity of the 11, I think they really nailed it with this one. It's not a gimmicky whiskey with Ron Swanson's face on it. I'd almost rather have this over the 16. But then I go with the 8 afterwards. I mean, it's different, but I really like that light, complex whiskey.
Yeah, it looks like a Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, it does. You're right. Yeah, and the 9's good too, but the 9 to me is just it's classic. It's what's expected. Like these two bring something different.
I agree with that definitely.
Price point. So this one, because it's new, I think this was around $75. You can get this at the New Hampshire liquor stores. They have it at Total Wine too. They have it other places, but it's selling pretty fast because it's the Offerman edition. But I think it's going to be a permanent part of their lineup. The 8 I think was only like 50 or $55. Not as readily available. Total Wines, I think maybe Yankee Spirits and Sturbridge, and then anywhere that's selling the Game of Thrones, you can typically find those. I think that one's around 60 or 65, which I think is a little overpriced for what you get.
No, I like this.
Yeah, but they're good. All right. So I guess shout out wise, we'll give a shout out to all of you because I think, or anybody who's still left watching this video, because we're like over
a lot going on.
We're like over 14 minutes. But thanks for sticking around with us, and sorry that we're sitting here enjoying 3 Lagavulins. If you're a big Lagavulin Smoky Peaty Isla whiskey fan, if you're not, you probably turned us off a long time ago. But we'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.